So then welcome everyone to this artist sprint demo for sprint 2021.10, which we will finalize this week or in very shortly. And let's have a brief look at what we did in this sprint. So we have worked on improving support for templates in Artist, and we have in this sprint included a number of improvements in the user interface. So it affects both how template parameters are shown in the Project Explorer and in the properties view. We also changed the terminology a bit to be more aligned with C++ than with UML to make it easier to understand what you see. And we improved the command for adding dependencies automatically so that it now takes formal template parameters into account. It didn't do that before. We also worked on improving the model debugger, in particular in the area of tracing. So as some of you know, previously it was a bit hard if you wanted to trace everything in a capsule because you needed to manually add all the states and ports of that capsule. Now it's much easier because you can just add the capsule, and that does the same thing as previously doing it manually, adding everything. We also improved state activation tracing to handle things that we didn't handle correctly before. So now you get a more complete and correct tracing of the states when they are activated in the capsules. And we also introduced an easier way to find out in which state a capsule instance is when it sends or receives an event. And we did that by adding a new filter command in the trace that helps you to see this more easily. In last sprint demo, we demoed a new feature called event routing visualization. So it's basically a command for visualizing and navigating the composite structure of a capsule and filtering for a particular event. In this sprint, we added support for invoking this command from the code editor so that you easily can navigate from a line of code where an event is sent to the transition that will receive that event. And also this feature is now available as non-experimental. Then we have a new feature which we call OneTest Embedded Integration. And as you can hear from the name, it's an integration feature with another product called HL OneTest Embedded. And for those of you who are not familiar with that product, it's a product for testing real-time applications and embedded applications. And it works by instrumenting the application so that data is collected at runtime. And the data that we take advantage of in this integration is data about state machine coverage. So you can run the application and afterwards see what parts of the state machines were not executed, or maybe what parts were executed the most, so that you know that that's a critical part that needs to be optimal. And this can be visualized both in a tabular form and also graphically in the state chart diagrams. It's currently an experimental feature with a bit limited support for compilers and targets. So actually it's only working right now fully on MinGUI on Windows, but we will extend this, of course, in the upcoming sprint here when finalizing this feature. There are also some improvements in the Node+ part of Artist related to unit testing. So the support for Mocha was improved so that you can more easily test Node-RED nodes and Node.js applications. And you can use this feature to test real-time applications developed by Artist by means of a library called ArtiTestProbe, which we now have made available open source on GitHub and also as an NPM module to make it easy to get it in a JavaScript environment. And then we also ship another version of Artist 11.1. That is our third experimental version, and it's the actually last experimental drop before the GA, which is expected to happen around 6 weeks from now. So here is the list of experimental features that we have currently. We have the generate code preview command that was demoed some time ago. That's still experimental. We have the OneTest embedded integration, and the whole Artist 11.1 release is still to be treated as experimental. And here is a summary of what we will ship in this sprint. As you can see, there are no changes in older versions. We are only doing that if we find any critical problem, and we didn't do that in the last sprint, so the versions are the same for the older versions. Any questions before we start with the demo?